Hey YouTube, it's your boy Big G back with another review, and today it is Iron Man 2, which I watched just yesterday, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. Um, I'm gonna try to keep this very short, try to keep it under 10 minutes because I know people don't like long videos. Gonna try to talk a little fast too. Anyways, I think this was not a case of the second, or as in the sequel, being better than the first movie. And sadly, I I think this was very close to the first movie, but not close enough. I think because of many issues that I think it has. Besides the issue, I think overall, I think it is a good movie. Of course, it's a good watch. If you haven't seen it, you guys should watch Iron Man 2. It is a good watch. It's not completely horrible. It is a good watch. It is good to see Tony Stark. It is good to see Iron Man. It is good to see Rhodes, being in one iron suit. Anyways, um, okay. First initial thing. This movie, why I said it's like the first one, because the movie itself, it does the exact same thing. So the main hero, he has another revelation, just like the first movie. The villain has a good motive, just like the first movie. The hero goes through something dramatic and then has a change of heart. In this instant, directly because he makes a new element, which I have an issue with how the way he made it. I don't know if that's correct or anything. Um, and again, I don't think the villain is as strong as we think. I don't think the ending did justice. I mean, there's a lot of work for just a very little fight at the very end, I think, at least between the villain and the heroes, I guess. Um, Okay, breaking down a bit more further into detail. So the first issue I had in the movie was, I guess, how they show the relationship of Tony Stark versus, let's say, the country or versus the government, where he says, "Okay, you know what? It's my invention, my suit. I'm gonna keep it. Not gonna give it to you. You just have to trust me that I am a superhero and I am gonna protect you. I'm not gonna go wild." Which I understand from a government point of view, where the U.S. government be like, you know what? We can't have another entity or another body living with us who is more powerful than us, and therefore you have to give us the weapon. However, I also understand Tony Stark's point of view, which is my invention I keep. Simple as that. But the issue I have is that they have to put the government has to put their trust into Tony Stark, and which they see was not well placed in a sense, because he becomes egotistical, he becomes power hungry and everything, right? As the movie goes on, and that was, I think, one of the flaws. I mean, I don't know how they could have fixed it. I mean, it could also be a good thing, but that conflict was not further developed in the movie. It was just like, it's there at the beginning. He refuses to give his suit. The government hates him, but the government can't do anything about it, which was kind of weird to me. It's like, I understand Major Rhodey, I think his friend, his army friend, he stops many things from happening, stops the military from coming in and just taking his suits or whatever, which again is violation of Tony Stark's rights and everything. But there is no action from the government except for, oh yeah, we're gonna wait. We have trust in our captain or Major Rhodes, and he'll just convince his friend and whatnot. What I liked about the movie in the first part was how they showed that many other countries were far away from making robots and stuff, and how they linked the villain's storyline being, okay, the villain's father worked with Tony's father on the arc reactor, but he never got credit for it. Now, the main issue I have with the villain is that the villain is brilliant in terms of mind and stuff. He's a genius as well. He's a physicist, and he could have put his stuff to good use rather than just selling weapons and stuff to, like, to the Middle East or Pakistan or whatever, as they showed in the movie. But instead, he chose to do that and go to jail, just like his father. His father, he there's a clear flaw. His father tried to do the same thing and then got kicked out. Therefore, he didn't get credit for his work, but then was hung over about that for the rest of his life. And so his kid showed the reflection of being power hungry and being tech hungry in a sense, and not being given the right credit. So in that way, I saw a flaw in in the villain's backstory where the kid can be like, okay, yeah, dad, you did something wrong. That's why you got kicked out and that's why you don't have credit. But hey, you know what? Your kid's smart too. You still had potential. You could have done something for your country. You could have still made money. We could have been still not poor and whatnot. Like there was a lot of opportunity to do something, but they didn't. They keep holding on to stuff, and that's okay. That's the storyline, but that's still a flaw where you can be like, okay, what the hell, you know? Like that's not a good enough motive. That's like a broken motive. That's like a motive that kind of tells you that hey, you know what? Like yeah, I could have done something about it, but I stood hungover, and now I just want to kill Tony Stark just because his dad kicked my dad out from a project and never gave credit for it. Like that technically your family ruined my family's life, but no, they didn't. They just did the right thing. Like what the hell? Um, what I like, other things I liked about the movie is I liked how Tony Stark struggled. He was dying, and you saw the precautions of that, and how he acts as he knows he's dying slowly and steadily, and it's accelerating as he uses the suit. But then his last wish is to stay in the suit, die faster, and just eat donuts, which was an issue with me. Rather than hey, you know what? I'm a genius. I can find a way out of this. Why not do that in the first place? Rather him doing that, Nick Fury had to come in and be like, "Hey, get your shit together. Take a look at your father's stuff and figure it out." Somehow Nick Fury knew that if Tony Stark looked at his father's stuff from the age of long time ago when Shield was established, he would figure stuff out just because it was left by him. Somehow the mad genius of the entire thing is Howard Stark, how he knew he left these things and he constructed a whole expo, and from that expo, Tony Stark makes a new element. Now, this is the biggest issue I have with the movie. Out of nothing, he makes an element. He looks at an expo design, an architecture urban design, eliminates things, and then just keeps the globe in the middle. And then he uses the pavilions and I believe the buildings as protons and neutrons that he tells Jarvis use them as protons and neutrons frame and put them into the globe. And Jarvis being the multi-million-dollar genius in this, puts it in, makes a new element. Tony Stark blows it up and be like, oh, look, I just got a new element. Now I can live forever. Don't have to die. Well, not forever, but he doesn't have to die all of a sudden. And he's like, wow, you just created a new element. Now you just have to find a way to get that on a material so that can generate electricity or generate power, which you can use to keep yourself alive. Scientifically, I'm not a scientist. I don't know if that's correct. I don't know if the way he did it is correct. I don't know if what he did was right or if that's possible. And if it's possible, why haven't people done it? Like, what the hell? If it's impossible, then wow, that is not a tech genius. That is just comic book bullshit, I think. Or just Marvel bullshit, which they just make shit up and people believe that, oh yeah, he can just waltz in, create a new element after looking at a goddamn urban plan of an expo. That's cool. It's fine. I had a big issue with that. Finally, overall it was good. Another thing I liked was how Pepper Potts and Tony Stark's relationship sort of evolved a little bit. I don't see how it evolved a lot. It was just I felt like the girl had a crush on the guy had a crush on a girl, in a sense, because the girl's just been taking care of the guy since forever. And eventually they were bound to get together. It was just they just weren't making communication, but eventually they did, which was a good thing, but again, not executed well enough, I think, just because of the communication error, which that could be even a masterpiece of this of the storyline, but I guess I don't know, I didn't like it that much. Lastly, what I didn't like was the villains' interaction. So the villain makes all these robots, they fight Rhodey and Tony, they fight them because the villain programs the robots to go and kill them, just because his motive is to kill Tony Stark. He's goddamn Iron Man. Of course he's just gonna blast those guys, you know? Like, surprisingly, not a lot of bullets and bombs hit Tony Stark, even though he was running from so many, even though so many of them are down on the ground shooting at him while the other ones are chasing him and shooting at him. Not a lot hit him. It hit everything else, not him that much. And when the villain came in, finally had a suit on this time, was trying to kill those guys. It was so short lived. It's like, okay, you know, like this villain is kind of becoming very powerful, and if we don't do something in the next 2 seconds, we're gonna die. So they do the whole blasting at each other and trying to kill the guy that way, and they succeeded. But the next issue I have is that the villain, which brilliantly, not I don't have an issue with the villain, I have an issue with Tony Stark. Brilliantly, the villain programmed every robot that does die to explode after, just to increase casualties. And yes, that's a villainous move, and that's good. But Tony Stark knows that apparently, automatically, he knows that everything's been evacuated. There's no chance, 0% chance of a kid or a person being stuck somewhere or just being injured somewhere and next to a robot who could completely die. But except for Pepper Potts, everyone is out, which I think is a flaw. Tony Stark has literally 10 seconds or whatever, and he flies and he saves Pepper Potts. That's cool. That's fine. But assuming that no one else was ever there, everything has been evacuated. There's no possibility, no chance of anyone being stuck somewhere or being injured and hadn't been able to get out of there is bizarre to me. Is like the hero is there, but then he leaves everyone else to die just because he wants to go save his girlfriend. Like, what the hell? Now, being all this, I think the movie is still good. It's still a good watch. I mean, it's still a fun ride. It's not like it's a bad ride. Oh, and by the way, yeah, Scarlett Johansson, whew, super hot, super talented, amazing skill fighting moves. I like that part at least. I didn't like her fake identity and stuff. Like, it was obvious that she was not a secretary. She was just there to look an eye on them. And Tony Stark being a genius, he didn't see that again. That's another flaw in my opinion. But I think overall this is a 7 out of 10. It is a good movie. It is a good watch. The next one probably I'll do is Captain America, and I will keep posting them as I go through the MC Marvel universe. Let's say, I don't want to get it wrong. Marvel universe. I'm gonna go sequence wise. But yeah, it's a solid 7 out of 10. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about the movie. I'm sure you've seen it in the past or seen it recently or something, just to revisit Tony Stark or revisit Iron Man. But let me know in the comments below what you think about the review, what you think about the movie. Please, guys, support the channel. Guys, do like and subscribe. And that's it. See you next time for Captain America. Peace. Thank you.